Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're the place where we take a whole stack of information, really boil it down to the core insights, and just cut through all that noise to get you properly informed.
That's the goal.
Today, our mission is to unpack a source that's genuinely reshaped how millions think about money. Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. We've got excerpts from the audiobook transcript here.
Right.
And we're aiming to pull out the most crucial bits of knowledge about finance, financial education, for you, the listener.
And this deep dive, it really goes beyond just your typical financial advice. Kiyosaki's story, it's powerful, shaped by these two really different role models.
Yeah.
It gives us this unique way to look really critically at our own beliefs. The ones we just absorb about wealth, about work, even about education itself.
Kiyosaki's upbringing was definitely not typical, defined by these totally opposite views from two father figures. So you had his biological dad, the poor dad, highly educated, advanced degrees, all that, but ended up struggling with money.
Despite all the qualifications.
Exactly. And then his friend Mike's father, the rich dad, successful entrepreneur, didn't even finish 8th grade.
Wow.
Both were strong, charismatic guys, apparently, but their advice on money, on life, poles apart.
And what's really fascinating there is how those opposing views basically forced young Robert to, think critically right from the start.
He didn't have a choice, really.
No, he wasn't just handed a set of beliefs. Like one dad says, the love of money is the root of all evil.
The classic line.
Right. And the other dad comes back with, no, the lack of money is the root of all evil. That contrast, it wasn't just interesting. It made him compare, question.
To figure it out for himself.
Precisely. Forge his own philosophy. And he found that process way more valuable than just, accepting or rejecting one side. He had to find his own truth.
And this is where I think it really hits the core of Kiyosaki's whole argument. He claims the rich get richer, the poor poorer, the middle class just fights debt. Why? Because real financial education doesn't happen in school. It happens, or more often, doesn't happen at home.
Right, that's the key gap.
He points out this paradox.
Yeah.
You've got these super smart, highly educated people, bankers, doctors, accountants, who still struggle with money their whole lives.
Yeah, it seems counterintuitive.
Because academic success, getting good grades, professional skills, that doesn't automatically mean you know anything about managing money. They learn how to earn it.
But not how to keep it or make it grow.
Exactly.
And if you zoom out, think about society. It raises this really big question, doesn't it? What happens when a country's highly educated people, maybe even politicians, government officials, are making huge financial decisions for everyone, but they haven't really been trained in money management themselves?
That's a scary thought.
Well, Kiyosaki suggests, kind of provocatively, that our huge national debt is partly because of this lack of financial literacy at high levels. And he warns about the future, too. Millions needing financial, medical help, relying on family or the government, especially if big programs like Medicare, Social Security, if they run into trouble.
So it's not just personal finance, it's potentially a massive societal issue.
It's systemic, yeah, absolutely.
So Kiyosaki really digs into mindset, how it starts with the words we use and how that shapes our financial destiny. His poor dad, for instance, always said,
I can't afford it.
Yeah, that phrase. But his rich dad, he absolutely forbade it. Told him to ask instead.
How can I afford it?
Such a small change. But
Oh, it's huge. Psychologically massive. Think about it. I can't afford it. That's a full stop. Your brain just shuts down. Problem over, can't solve it.
Right. Admission of defeat.
Exactly. But asking, how can I afford it? That forces your brain to switch on. To get creative, look for solutions, possibilities.
Makes it a challenge, not a dead end.
Rich Dad saw it like exercise for the brain, essential. He actually called I can't afford it a sign of, mental laziness, like not even trying to figure it out.
And these different attitudes, they weren't just about that one phrase, right?
Right.
They showed up everywhere.
Oh, yeah, totally. It colored everything. Take taxes.
Yeah.
One dad believed the rich should pay more, help the less fortunate. The other saw taxes as, punishing people who produce things and rewarding those who don't.
Very different takes. What about careers?
Poor dad. Study hard, find a good company to work for. Safety, security.
Standard advice?
Rich dad. Study hard so you can find a good company to buy. Completely different mindset. Ownership versus employment.
Wow. And family. That must have been tough.
Yeah, imagine hearing this. Poor dad. Sadly. The reason I'm not rich is because I have you kids.
Ouch.
Versus rich dad. The reason I must be rich is because I have you kids. Total flip. Responsibility as motivation.
Huge difference. Risk, too.
Yep. Poor Dad. Play it safe. Avoid risk. Rich Dad. Learn to manage risk, not avoid it. Understand it, control it.
And the big one, the house?
Yes. Poor Dad followed conventional wisdom. Our home is our biggest investment, our greatest asset.
What most people think.
But Rich Dad. My house is a liability, and if your house is your largest investment, you're in trouble.
Okay, that needs unpacking later.
Definitely. But all these contrasts, they really make you question where our beliefs about money come from, don't they? Often just inherited subconsciously.
Yeah, from parents, society.
Poor Dad often said, "I'll never be rich." And, well, it became true for him, a self-fulfilling prophecy. Rich Dad, though, even when he was temporarily broke, he'd still say, "I'm a rich man." He got the difference.
Between being broke and being poor.
Exactly. Broke is temporary, poor is eternal. Poverty for him was a mindset, a state of being, not just a lack of cash.
So money is power.
But financial education is more powerful because it gives you power over money instead of money having power over you.
Got it. Okay, let's dig into lesson 1 then. The big one from Rich Dad. The rich don't work for money.
The poor and middle class work for money. The rich have money work for them.
How did that lesson start for Kiyosaki? He's just a kid, right?
Yeah, 9 years old. He and his friend Mike felt left out by the richer kids, so they decided, okay, we'll make our own money.
Kid logic.
Totally. Their first bright idea, casting nickels out of lead?
Uh-oh. Counterfeiting.
Pretty much. Rich Dad quickly but gently pointed that out.
Okay, so that didn't work.
No, but interestingly, it was the poor dad's reaction that gave an early lesson. He said, look, you're only poor if you give up. You actually did something. Most people just talk about getting rich.
So value the action, the attempt.
Yeah, crucial. Take action. But the real lesson, the deep one, came from Rich Dad.
Okay.
He offered them a job in one of his stores, paying them like 10 cents an hour, tiny wage.
Okay, better than nothing.
For a few weeks. Then he stopped paying them altogether.
What? Working for free.
Exactly. As 9-year-olds, it seemed harsh, but it was Rich Dad's way of, as he put it, letting life push them around a bit, to make them think beyond just the paycheck.
Push them out of the usual thinking.
Right. He explained most people get caught in the rat race, this endless cycle driven by two core emotions, fear and desire.
Fear and desire. How so?
Fear of not paying bills, fear of getting fired, fear of being broke. That pushes you.
Yeah.
And desire. That's the pull towards luxuries, nicer things, keeping up with the Joneses.
So money starts running your life.
Completely. And people deny it, right? They become slaves to the paycheck, to wanting more, but won't admit that money controls them.
Kiyosaki uses that carrot and donkey image, doesn't he?
Yeah, it's vivid. Fear is the stick poking the donkey to move, get to work. Desire is the carrot dangling just ahead, a bigger house, a faster car, always just out of reach.
And that keeps people stuck.
Stuck in the race. And Rich Dad's point was, more money doesn't actually solve the underlying problem. Often it just makes our flaws, our fears, our greed more obvious.
So earning more isn't the answer in itself.
Nope. He even said people who claim, oh, I'm not interested in money, but still work 8 hours a day. That's a kind of denial, almost delusional. The goal isn't to suppress emotions about money, but to use them to think logically, not let them control your thinking.
Use emotions to think, not think with emotions.
Yeah.
Okay, that leads nicely into lesson 2, financial literacy.
Right. It's not how much money you make, it's how much money you keep.
He tells that story about the super rich businessmen from the 1920s.
Yeah, 1923, some of the wealthiest men in the world. And 25 years later, most were broke, dead, or in prison.
It's shocking. Proves that just having a high income isn't enough, right?
Absolutely not. It doesn't guarantee security. Kiyosaki says we need a strong financial foundation, not just like a thin 6-inch slab of concrete that most people build their lives on, which then cracks under pressure.
So what makes that foundation strong? What's the key?
It comes down to understanding the difference between assets and liabilities. And this is where Rich Dad's definition is, well, brutally simple, but incredibly powerful.
Okay, what is it?
An asset is something that puts money in my pocket. A liability is something that takes money out of my pocket. That's it.
Seems obvious, but...
But most people get it wrong. Kiyosaki argues people struggle because they keep buying liabilities that they think are assets. They fundamentally misunderstand where their money is actually going.
Like the house example again.
Exactly. Or a brand new car. It loses value immediately, costs money for gas, insurance, repairs. It's constantly taking money out. But we're conditioned to see it differently.
So this misclassification is actively hurting people's ability to build wealth.
Definitely. He lays out that typical middle-class cash flow pattern. Income goes up, maybe you get a raise.
Good news. Yeah.
You'd think. But then expenses just rise to meet it or exceed it. Higher taxes on the higher income, maybe a bigger house means a bigger mortgage, new car payment, furniture on credit.
The cycle.
The never-ending cycle. And yeah, the house thing is central. We're told your home is your biggest asset. Rich Dad flatly disagrees for most people. It takes money out, mortgage, taxes, insurance, upkeep. It ties up capital.
So it's often a liability masquerading as an asset.
Precisely. Unless it's generating income for you, like a rental property.
Okay. That Japanese legend you mentioned earlier about the three treasures.
Yeah. The sword, the jewel, and the mirror.
Sword is weapons, jewel is money.
And the mirror is self-knowledge. Critical thinking. Kiyosaki stresses that the mirror, that ability to know yourself and think independently, is the most valuable treasure.
So it's about questioning the common wisdom.
Exactly. Questioning the crowd, resisting that urge to just go along with what everyone says, like your house is your biggest investment. Really looking in the mirror and understanding your actual financial situation, your cash flow.
Looking beyond the dogma. Okay, powerful stuff. That leads to lesson 3, mind your own business. What does that actually mean?
Well, he uses the Ray Kroc story, the McDonald's founder. Great example.
Right. Kroc asked a group of MBA students what business he was in. They said hamburgers.
And he replied, "Ladies and gentlemen, I'm not in the hamburger business. My business is real estate."
Because McDonald's owns all that valuable land under the restaurants.
They're the largest single owner of real estate in the world. It highlights the difference between your profession, what you do day to day, and your business.
So my profession might be, say, teaching.
Right, that's your job. But your business, Kiyosaki argues, should be focused on building your asset column. Financial problems often come from spending your life working for someone else, building their assets.
So what counts as a real asset in this model?
Things that generate income or appreciate without requiring your constant presence. So businesses you own but don't have to run day to day, stocks, bonds, income-producing real estate, royalties from patents or books, things like that. Anything that puts money in your pocket.
And this ties into how people buy luxuries.
Big time.
Yeah.
The rich, or those building wealth, buy luxuries last. They wait until their assets generate enough income to pay for the luxury.
So the asset buys the nice car, not your salary.
Exactly. But the poor and middle class, they tend to buy luxuries first, often with debt. They want to look rich, even if it digs them deeper into a hole.
Kiyosaki mentions his wife Kim wanting a Mercedes.
Yeah, a classic example. They waited until their apartment buildings were generating enough extra cash flow each month to cover the car payment easily. The asset bought the luxury. Discipline.
Okay, discipline. Let's shift to a slightly more complex topic.
Yeah.
Taxes and corporations. Lesson 4.
Right. This tackles that Robin Hood idea, take from the rich, give to the poor. Kiyosaki argues it sounds good, but in reality,
It backfires.
he suggests it often does, that it's actually the middle class, especially the higher-earning, educated middle class, who get hit hardest by taxes.
Why is that?
Because the wealthy understand and utilize legal structures, primarily corporations, to their advantage. Historically, corporations started as a way to limit risk for risky ventures, like funding voyages.
Makes sense. Pool resources, limit liability.
But Rich Dad taught him that knowing how these legal structures work, especially around taxes, gives the rich a massive edge.
How so?
While wage earners, the poor and middle class, they earn money, it gets taxed immediately, then they spend what's left. The rich, using corporations, can often legally earn money, spend money within the corporation on legitimate business expenses.
Pre-tax dollars.
Exactly, and then pay taxes on what's left over, if anything. Plus, corporations offer liability protection. They hire smart lawyers and accountants to navigate the rules legally.
Like that 1031 exchange you mentioned.
Perfect example. Selling an investment property, rolling the gains into a bigger one, and deferring taxes, potentially forever. That keeps capital working and compounding instead of being paid out in taxes. It's a huge accelerator the average person can't usually access.
So the system incentivizes understanding these rules. It begs the question, why work harder just to give a bigger chunk to the government or banks?
That's Kiyosaki's point. Learn how to make your increased efforts benefit you and your asset column, often using these legal structures. Rich Dad's philosophy, why not own the ladder instead of just climbing it for someone else?
Own the ladder. I like that. Okay, lesson 5. The rich invent money. What does that mean? Sounds almost magical.
Yeah, it does sound a bit like that. But it starts with mindset again. He quotes, often in the real world, it's not the smart who get ahead, but the bold.
Boldness over just book smarts.
Right. He uses the Alexander Graham Bell story, offered his telephone patent to Western Union for $100,000.
And they laughed him off, called it a toy.
Yep, and missed out on a multi-billion-dollar industry because they lacked boldness, vision. Kiyosaki contrasts this with the self-doubt that stops most people from even trying to seize opportunities.
So how do we get that boldness? How do we overcome the fear?
Kiyosaki says financial genius needs both the technical know-how and courage. Especially now, in the information age, things change so fast. Opportunities pop up constantly.
But only for those ready to adapt.
Exactly. Flexible, open-minded, willing to learn. Old ideas, being rigid, that's the biggest liability now.
So inventing money isn't literal.
Not usually, no. He argues money itself isn't truly real. It's more like an agreement, an idea held together by our collective fear and greed, and often ignorance.
An illusion we all buy into.
Kind of. His example was during a down market in Phoenix. He found motivated sellers, put very little money down, used creative financing, essentially created promissory notes where he was the bank earning interest.
So he created assets out of the situation.
Yeah, he claimed to have invented over $190,000 in assets, these notes, paying him 10% interest with minimal risk, mostly tax-sheltered. It wasn't about having cash. It was about seeing the opportunity and knowing the rules, using his financial intelligence.
Which brings us back to those 4 technical skills.
Right, the pillars of financial intelligence.
1, accounting, reading the numbers.
2, investing money, making money.
3, understanding market supply, demand, timing.
And 4, the law, knowing the rules, taxes, corporations, using them to your advantage.
Okay, that makes inventing money seem more like applied intelligence and creativity.
Right.
Less magic, more skill.
Precisely. It's about seeing what others miss and having the skills and courage to act.
Which links to lesson 6. Work to learn, don't work for money. Another counterintuitive one.
Very much so. He contrasts his poor dad, obsessed with job security, titles, steady paychecks,
The conventional path.
with his rich dad who focused relentlessly on learning new skills, broadening his knowledge base.
He tells that story about the writer, right? Great writer, but couldn't sell her books.
Yeah, brilliant writer, academically accomplished, but broke. Kiyosaki suggested she take a course in sales and marketing.
And she was offended.
Deeply. I have a master's degree. Why would I stoop to being a salesperson? It wounded her professional pride.
But Kiyosaki's point was,
It's not enough to be the best writing author. You need to be a best-selling author. And that requires different skills, business skills.
so many talented people might be just one skill away from great wealth.
That's his argument. Brilliant baker, but knows nothing about business systems or marketing. You'll stay small. Rich Dad pushed learning a little about a lot.
Generalist over specialist, in some ways.
More like, master your specialty, but also develop core management skills. Cash flow, systems, people management, and absolutely crucial, sales and marketing. Understand the whole business, not just your piece.
Build a holistic business mind. And he also mentioned giving, tithing.
Yeah, Rich Dad was a big believer. If you want something, first you need to give.
Yeah.
Whether it's money, a smile, love, believe it comes back multiplied. A mindset of abundance, not scarcity.
Okay, so you learn all this, you have the skills, but there are still roadblocks, right? Internal ones.
Oh, yeah. Kiyosaki names 5 big ones: fear, cynicism, laziness, bad habits, and arrogance.
Let's touch on a couple. Fear.
Fear of losing money. Everyone has it. But he says people are so afraid of losing that they lose anyway by never trying. Rich Dad's advice: winning means being unafraid to lose.
Doesn't mean be reckless, though.
No, it means seeing losses as learning opportunities. And he advised focus over diversification, especially early on. Don't spread yourself too thin before you have momentum.
What about bad habits?
The big one he flags is paying yourself last. Pay all the bills, then see if anything's left for savings or investing.
That's common.
Rich Dad insisted, pay yourself first, allocate money to your asset column right away, even if it means you're short for bills.
That sounds stressful.
That's the point. That pressure, he argued, forces you to get creative, find ways to make more money to cover the bills. It strengthens your financial muscles, your ingenuity.
Using pressure positively. Interesting. And cynicism. The sky is falling types.
Yeah, the ones who always know why something won't work. Oh, real estate. Too risky, toilets break. They find excuses. Cynics criticize, he says. Winners analyze. They look for the opportunity within the problem.
Okay, so overcoming these is key. For listeners feeling motivated now, what are the first steps? How do you actually start?
Kiyosaki stresses finding your why, a reason bigger than reality. Deep emotional wants things you desperately desire and strong don't. Wants things you desperately want to avoid. That's the fuel.
The motivation to push through the hard stuff.
Exactly. Then it comes down to daily choices. What you do with your time, your money, and critically, what you put in your head. Continuous learning.
So specific actions.
Yeah, he lists several practical things. First, invest in education. Your mind is your #1 asset. Seminars, books, audio programs like this deep dive. Keep learning.
Choose your friends wisely.
Definitely. Surround yourself with people talking about money, ideas, deals. Learn from their wins and their mistakes. Avoid the chicken littles who just spread fear and doubt.
Master one formula, then learn another.
Yes. Find a strategy that works. Maybe it's small real estate deals, maybe something else. Get good at it, make it work, then expand. Keep learning new formulas. Adaptability is key.
Pay yourself first, that discipline.
Absolutely fundamental. Build that habit. Treat your asset column like your most important bill.
Pay your advisors well. That seems counterintuitive if you're trying to save.
He means find good advisors, attorneys, accountants, brokers who provide valuable information and save you money or make you money in the long run. See them as assets, not expenses. Pay for quality advice.
Use assets to buy luxuries. We cover that. Delayed gratification.
Crucial discipline. Let the assets do the heavy lifting for the fun stuff.
Choose heroes.
Yeah, study successful investors or entrepreneurs, Warren Buffett, whoever resonates, understand their thinking, their strategies, learn from the best.
And finally, teach others.
Just like his dads did for him. Share what you learn. Kiyosaki believes teaching deepens your own understanding, and following that principle of giving brings more back to you.
So wrapping this all up, what's the big takeaway for our listeners?
I think it's a fundamental shift away from just work hard, save money, climb the ladder. It's a call to be active, be curious, take control of your financial education.
To cultivate a mindset that sees possibilities, not just limitations.
Exactly. And Kiyosaki's final thought, shaped by those two dads, is really powerful. Money is only an idea.
Just an idea.
Yeah. If you want more money, simply change your thinking. It boils down to realizing that what's in your head, your knowledge, your beliefs, your courage, that's what determines what ends up in your hands.
Financial freedom as a result of thinking differently, learning continuously, and taking disciplined action.
That's the essence of it. It's a journey of education and application.
Well, that's our deep dive into Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Hopefully it's given you, our listener, a lot to chew on. Maybe inspired you to look at your own financial path a bit differently.
Food for thought, definitely.
Until next time, keep digging for those nuggets of knowledge.